we're going to continue to better this industry. There's a number of us out there, and it just keeps growing. We want this industry better, and we also want this industry to have a good reputation, which then helps our entire industry of what we're doing.
Welcome everybody in. It's another Nice Job live chat. How are you doing out there? We hope you're doing well as we get ever closer to the end of 2020 and rolling right along here in season 2 of the Nice Job Podcast. Now, you know, a lot of our episodes, we try to touch on a variety of different topics, but we wanted to make sure as we went along on the show to always take a time to talk to some individuals that just have some great unique stories, some great unique insight, and really the individuals out there that are some of the gems of the home service community and really just the general population out there. This gentleman in particular, I became aware of a YouTube video he did where he was helping out a fellow member of the industry who was going through some tough times, and he kind of took it upon himself to go and help out. And as I learned more about this individual, there was just more and more questions I wanted to ask and more stories I wanted to hear. So I figured, why keep it all to myself? Share it with you here on the Nice Job Podcast. So my guest today is Mark Saiger. Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to join us for a nice conversation.
Hey, thanks for having me on board here.
So you are up in Minnesota, correct? Are you in Bemidji or just outside of Bemidji?
I'm outside of Bemidji. Actually, I'm in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. So you got to say Minnesota, to get that. But we're not. There's the other place in Michigan that my mail goes sometimes in parts every now and then. But we're in Minnesota. So we're 3.5 hours north of Minneapolis, St. Paul. And Bemidji is to the west of us, 70 miles approximately. And Duluth to the other side of me, about 70 miles. So I'm right split in the middle there.
Yeah, so if you're in the Minnesota area, for sure, look up Mark. But you'll see
That's
Mark
right.
on Facebook and things like that. And I said off the top, I came across a YouTube video that you were doing. We connected. We had a couple of conversations, and the more I kind of learned about you, I saw a couple other people on Facebook, mentioning things that you've kind of done with them and how you've connected, and not so much something you've truly gone out of your way and done, but just a comment you would drop or a tip you would give. And you struck me as someone that takes every opportunity in front of them and tries to get the most out of it when it comes to learning as much as you can from it, exploring as much as you can from it. Do you think that's an apt description of you? I know you might be a humble guy, it might be hard to say, but do you think it's a fair way to kind of portray you?
Well, I appreciate that. And part of it is I'm portraying my parents, my dad and my mom. My dad is known for, I think it was 32 truck mounts he mounted for free in what would have been his competition. They, of course, provided the truck mounts and stuff, or his dad helped him get them. And my dad is 83 years of age now. My mom is 80. And so he left us some big shoes. He would do this. And this was before internet, before anything. People would search and find him for some reason. And so my dad is, and my parents and my mom are very giving people. And so I want to say I humbly learned a lot from them. And as I keep telling them all the time, I have some very big shoes to keep trying to fill.
So let's talk about when you first started, putting on the first pair of shoes, before in the business, as a kid growing up with, obviously an entrepreneurial father, an entrepreneurial family. But really it sounds like one that's ingrained in a lot of what are the values of being a good person through business. So if we can, let's hop in the Wayback Machine and go back to the childhood. What was your kind of first interaction either with any sort of business, any sort of entrepreneurial ventures? Where did it all begin?
Well, my dad was a high school band director and a carpet cleaner, and we'd also come from a farming background. So we've always been playing with dirt is what we kind of said. And some of us were really good at it and always getting dirty. But so I look back at my childhood, and my dad was that band director and carpet cleaner. And I said, I would not be like my dad, back when you're younger. Next thing I know, I'm a high school band director and a carpet cleaner. So my parents get to laugh and, and be very proud about where we are. And I was so fortunate where my college education came because my dad gave us a carpet cleaning machine and said, go put your way through college. So I was given business entrepreneurship as well as that point too. So the interesting part is So I wasn't going to be a band director. The next thing I know, I did my student teaching here in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, and I got offered a teaching job. And I said, oh, I'll just go do it for a little while. Next thing I know is a little while turned into 25 years of band directing and carpet cleaning a little bit on the side on occasion, and then back into it full bore and hardcore. And the next thing I ended up leaving teaching after 25 years. And, here I am doing this.
And so the family business as a whole, how long has that been around?
55 years now. It started in the Red River Valley in the Grand Forks, North Dakota area. My uncle Merle owned a Standards gas station back then that somebody owed him some money and had this carpet cleaning machine. And he says, well, I'll take that in payment for you didn't pay your bill. Next thing I know is Uncle Merle is started up and everybody knew Merle. And he started to do a little franchise. The only ones who bought in on it were the family. And we said, we're not paying you 10%, but we were all family. It was kind of, it just was funny. But yeah, so he went from a mechanic, a farmer, mechanic, and then we were all carpet cleaners.
So did you ever see carpet cleaning as kind of the fallback, or just because it was always constantly there? Like you said, you got into teaching, you're going through a great career there. Did you feel like you were getting further and further away from carpet cleaning, or was it always a constant that was there?
I did get away from it. Gosh, I was so fortunate. I had amazing students. I went from a high school band when I started here of about 65 students in grades 10 through 12 till just before I left, I had like 350 students, grades 10 through 12. And I had an impressive nationally award-winning marching bands and blessed my students and my staff that were also available. And we were competing in the United States and doing very well in these national competitions as marching bands, and we did concert and jazz bands. So, I dive in, I go full force, and had a fun time, a great time, but there was, trying times as well too. It's all learning experience, but every one of those experiences have made me a better person, and then made it so when I started my carpet cleaning business, now again, it made me stronger. And I'd learned so much. The part of it on the business management, I was managing with a band booster account with a lot of money. And I had a lot of great businessmen in those band booster, that were helping me. So a cool thing that happened once is we set up a foundation, a fund here, that our band here now will never have to fundraise again for uniforms again. We set up a unique fund that we owned the uniforms, and then we leased them to the school district, what the school district loved, because then we would take the money and put it right back into a foundation that we had started here. And we were the very first fund to fund the foundation. And now there's tons of them that do that. So it's great. So again, that was business people I was networked with because of a band director that I was able to do that. And then when I came back in cleaning carpets, I've learned better.
The magical thing about experience is while it's happening, you never know where it's going to manifest later. You're just in it. And then sometimes even after it's done, you think it's going to help you or support you in one regard, and you find out in another. So with your music background, let's just stick musically. Band directing and obviously the ownership of that. But just from a musical background, the study of music, playing and teaching, is there anything that you took from there that you didn't think you would take to carpet cleaning or take the business? And you're like, wow, I never thought that was going to equal that, but here we are.
It's so cool because for when we were doing the band program, it was always marketing, and I was marketing the band program because you had to fundraise a lot and get recognition. And so yes, I did learn marketing with our band program. It was somewhat experimental, thankfully I got to do that, but it did pay off. I remember when we went to Florida one year with the band, and it was, oh my gosh, like 10 feet of snow in the parking lot. And we were still rehearsing to do a field show band program down there in the spring. And we got some publicity on it, like out marching in snow up to our rears. And they actually did a whole full article on it. And the people this was in St. Petersburg, Florida, came just out on the streets to watch and wanted to see where this band is because we had this news article pop out. So yeah, I learned marketing. I really did. And it's helped, and marching band colors and how we see from the way back in the stadium to the down to below the 50-yard line, just colors and stuff. So helping with the branding of my vehicles and ramps. Which, by the way, I never knew what the word branding was about. Somebody came up to me, I like your brand. I'm like, well, what's that? It's just just the design, what we put together. So, and I'm, as you can see, I'm going to be bouncing around like a ping pong here. So I apologize, but these things just flow out of me. But yeah, I learned all of that branding because of teaching band,
And
financing.
yeah, that couldn't have been something that you thought was going to be, the A to B path there.
No.
Along those same lines, I find people when they get to a level where they're very ingrained in what they are doing, then they point out all the small little things. So for example, I worked in live events for a while. Now, whenever I go to a sporting event, I feel like I'm watching something different than something else.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you this, because I think you know where I'm going, but to throw a little twist there. What is almost harder for you just to enjoy on a surface level? Watching someone clean carpets or watching marching band? Like, which are you picking out all the nuances and help yourself?
I think I'm still in the marching band kick, because there's so many things going on there and so many cool little things. And some people won't pick it up. You can watch a marching band show, 10, 20 times. You maybe all of a sudden just pick up something brand new that's been in there for a while, or even it's a mistake that happened, which was an awesome moment, carpet cleaning. Yeah, I really, we love just watching, going clean past right down through really super soiled carpet. Notice I didn't use the word dirty carpet, trying to pick those marketing words of soiled and make that comfortable level with your clients. Now, our carpets are really dirty. Well, they're a bit soiled today. Choose those words and make it kind. And that making people feel good about wanting to spend the money with you. So it's some word, choosing the words. But yeah, oh man, they both, here I am, a ping pong ball, bing, 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 bing,
Yeah.
I just, I nerd out on a lot of stuff.
Before you start thinking about how to combine the two, I want to make sure that we'll navigate back to business for a second. But longer teaching career, you talked about the family over 50 years, kind of in business and things like that. Mm-hmm. Those are long periods of time where you're going to see evolution in so many different facets. Yeah. Just thinking from the business perspective, has there been significant change throughout the decades, or is it a lot of history repeats itself? So are you seeing anything now that you remember as a child, or perhaps maybe your dad saying, you think that's a new recruiting thing, but it's really just this in disguise? Over the course, how much do you think things actually change? We know it's always evolving, but is it evolving, or is it more of a cycle in your opinion?
Well, again, I'm a bit of an equipment nerd and into some of the chemistry changes too. There have been a lot of equipment and chemistry changes for the good. Definitely to make it even easier for us to clean. I always pick on my guys out here and my son-in-law. Like, we have these Teflon glides that are on the bottom of the wands to make it easier to clean, and it does help clean. I always threaten, I'm going to take those off there one day just so you can experience what it was like in the back of your shoulders and, and feeling and pulling and tugging. So, that's just one thing in our industry that's changed. But yeah, there's been things that change. The people we work with change, as you notice, throughout history, and how, I don't know, they've been saying it for many, many years, back to Shakespeare and everything. That students these days, kids these days, what it is just changing. That's one of the reasons I did leave teaching, because students were changing. I was getting older and I was finding it more difficult to change with them. So for me, wanting to feel successful, I felt now was time for me to exit while I was still on a pretty good top. But also I felt it was worth it to the students. If I couldn't adjust to that change, they deserve somebody else to help them go through that next level.
It's an interesting point that you bring up, because I've been talking about in some, the appearances and speaking things that I've been doing about how 2020, the customer has gone through a lot of changes.
Yeah.
A lot of the, restrictions and quarantining and things like that. There's a good sector that became digital savvy that perhaps wasn't already on that path. Customers that now feel comfortable looking on their phone and booking through a job. And even the fact of, you're spending a lot of time in your home. Perhaps you start looking at the soiled carpet. It doesn't quite bother you yet, but because you have the time, you do start researching. Mm-hmm. Have you seen a more informed customer start to come your way, given what we've seen in 2020?
We have, and it's actually quite nice, because we do want to present ourselves as being knowledgeable in our field and what we're doing. And also, though, being kind and understanding and knowing that we're guests in your home. that and I think it's even a higher awareness for ourselves. So also we do talk about it, myself and the guys, myself and a couple of guys over there cleaning, my son-in-law and our other gentleman, and even my wife and daughter answer the phone. So we're very aware of it, and so we're trying to be even more understanding. I think we are compassionate about it, but we do have a heightened awareness going on right now about it.
You talk about being a guest in somebody's home, and obviously, the Nice Job Podcast, we kind of put a reputation marketing lens on some things. Obviously, being reputation marketing software in our own right, but that core value seems to have not gone anywhere of a business that you can trust. And a business that when you hire them, it's a little bit more than just accomplishing the task at hand. It's showing some care. It's going a little above and beyond. How have you been able to instill that, within your company, or even how did your father do that as well? Because that's a core value that's kind of carried on, and I don't think will ever go anywhere.
My parents did it all the time. And it naturally went to me and my brothers. And it's interesting. My son-in-law and Brady, our other worker, anyone who's worked for us, has free reign to make a decision on if something needs to be done for a client, even at a no charge. We want people to be happy. We want our people who are working to be happy to make that decision. We don't care if we lose money in some cases. We're fortunate we don't very often. I mean, maybe on a job, but we don't lose money. We are in the business to make money. But we want to make sure the client is taken care of. If there's something that needs to be done, they have full reign and full permission to take care of that, which I feel so good about, because I remember it was a few years ago. Now it's coming up on Christmas for us here. And we were cleaning at a house that she was really down, and she had just found out her daughter had brain cancer, and then the family, and she was going to have to take them in and take the kids. So we wouldn't accept payment for doing the job. And at that time, it was now my two son-in-laws working for me. And they said, we won't even take pay for our, I'm like, guys, you can't afford that. I can, but I appreciate that. You'll pass it on someday also. So that whole concept, that's the way I've been raised. That's the way we run our business. We're a family, small business. And I think there's even large family businesses that do that. There's core values they want to put through. I don't think we'll ever change in our company. That'll always be our core value.
And I alluded to it a little bit at the top of the show, that part of in connecting with you and just finding out, generally kind of about you, is I ran into a bunch of people within the industry, fellow business owners that talked about, some guidance and some help that you provided. I want to explore that a bit without it. I don't want to put you in a situation where you feel like you're tooting your own horn or anything like that. But I know that that's a big part of who you are, is to not look at almost like competitors as competitors, but as an industry kind of growing forward. Have you seen over your time a growth of that mindset? Because I feel my understanding when I was a bit younger was, if you're going into business, it's competitive, it's cutthroat. And since I've kind of come to Nice Job, since I've kind of looked, there is that still kind of in some areas, some things, but overall, I've seen much more of a community feel, that was so great to me. What is it about, or excuse me, how have you seen that grow over your time in the industry?
There's a group of people that, we get together. We have conventions, we get together, but we also have an event like I've got behind me here from around McDonald House. They took a picture of my van at, and we were in Minnesota. There's a core group that are putting together to go out and clean places as donations, and also at the same time being able to give cleaners the opportunity to get together, network, try equipment, try chemistry. So it's kind of two-folded there, and it's very inexpensive for them to participate. Some of it, some of it is free, absolutely. So because of that, there's a group that constantly keeps moving to bring more to us, of those people that want to give back into the industry and give back to young cleaners. And these boards and stuff that we're on, and these Facebook groups are also helping us, so we can share those moments that people are having questions on, needing help, etc., and or giving them the core values of how we are helping people. So we're going to continue to better this industry. There's a number of us out there, and it just keeps growing. We want this industry better, and we also want this industry to have a good reputation, which then helps our entire industry of what we're doing.
And so what is the biggest challenge for your industry right now? Is there something, because you talk about you want to make the industry better.
Mhm.
What are the challenges that are kind of facing your industry right now that you guys as a group are trying to tackle?
There's a few things that'll help and happen here and there in just certain areas where you'll maybe have to make some chemistry changes, or there's emissions changes. So in certain states and stuff, which a lot of those are helping us to create better things. Because if we stay back, and I want to call it some Stone Age times, we wouldn't have improved where we are now. Somebody's discovering something because they're always researching. We are always testing. I was out last night testing in the shop again. You should see the carpet I got all dirtied up this last weekend. It was a mess. It was pretty cool. But so stuff like that. There's people that are doing this. There's just the common carpet cleaner that sees a need that even for themselves, and they start inventing and doing stuff. Some of the wands that are out there, these swivel wands, these zipper push-pull wands, the glides. I mean, so a carpet cleaner had an idea, and by luck has been able to bring it into our industry. I think that's going to continue to happen. So, the challenges, just when you think there's not something else that can be invented, it pops up and somebody thankfully invents it, and it just changes then a whole nother dimension of the industry, and we start shifting a whole nother direction again and doing something different. So for me, it's exciting. The challenges are exciting, and some nights I wake up in the middle of the night and at 3 a.m. and I head out to my shop and do something with an idea, which I did. I've done that more than once. So.
And we've talked very industry specific, but has there been a moment in your career where something from another industry kind of, turned the light bulb on and sparked something that you were kind of able to, like cross pollinate into your industry?
Yeah, a number of equipment things, shut off valves, things like that. We're always looking for the perfect shut off valve. I mean, things are going to wear out. We keep forgetting, even us as cleaners, we're using and we're pulling triggers and stuff a lot of times in a day. If you do the math on it, they're going to just wear out a little bit. There's no way around it. You're going to have to just budget for that, unless somebody comes up with something amazing we haven't seen yet. And 20 years from now, I'll come back to this podcast and go, yeah, I remember that, and they invented that. But yeah. But that's the cool part. My dad, again, takes and watches and looks at the things we have now since he's retired. And that's been 20, 30 years ago he retired. So, yeah.
So is he doing what you're doing with the bands? Like he's watching the carpet industry, just kind of can't shut it quite all the way off?
He can't, but he's so proud of, and he's so happy to see things. I do have to say, I've got some of our marching band shows on YouTube that are pretty cool. And you go back and you see them, and back then I was like nitpicking every little thing. And then I start watching this after 4 or 5 years after I've been gone. And I go, oh my gosh, they were so good. And, I was nitpicking the heck out of it back then. And it's so cool now to see and be able to sit back and enjoy a little bit. So, we're always looking for better, and then we tend to not notice what's really good going on sometimes. So that was the learning experience when I do that. And a wake up call for me to sometimes step back, even now in the moment, and take a look what you have and what's going on.
So I saw you post a YouTube video recently. You just had some knee surgery, if I'm correct, and you're getting back after it. So it appears to me, at least, that you have plenty of more years to go. At the very least, like in the industry, you might get yourself, off the equipment in a little bit. Mm-hmm. But when you get to that point that you're gonna dust your hands a bit, you're gonna go back and just the grandchildren, the dogs, but like just not try to get your worries down as little as possible, things like that. Yeah. What would you ideally love your impact on the industry to have been? Like, what is the legacy that you kind of want to leave? Is it to continue it for the next generation, whether it's both internal? Is it something that you'd love to be known for, or are you do you have a desire to have Mark Saiger be the legacy, the band director, things like that? Like, do you want it to be all encompassing?
Well, that's interesting. We always talked about it. Like, I've been gone since 2008 from teaching on site. And since there, I'm still known, but I'm tending to be forgotten. That's fine. That's the next generations. The next generations go on. You got to keep in mind what I'm doing for the next generation too. Doesn't have to have my name on it. We did it. We did it for us now too. But the idea is that then people will build on that. So that's one of the things I have definitely learned from being out of that. What will happen now with Mark Saiger down the road when Mark Saiger gets out of cleaning? There'll be changes. I still remember I saw this cartoon and I always keep looking for it, or it was a drawing. And what it had was there was this Superman costume in a box, laying in a box in an alley. And then there was this guy in a band director uniform walking out of the alley. And so I always remember that, you feel like Superman some days, and some days you're just the band director going out. There's going to be a time where I'm going to be just walking out. I'm going to just be maybe towing the wand over my shoulder or be done, or, I don't know what the next thing will be. There will be some point where I'll do something different again too. That's just how I am. But the last one was, I was just going to do it a little while for band directing, and it was 25 years. So I don't know what I have left here.
That's great. Well, so this leads in perfectly to really our final question. Regular listeners of the Nice Job Podcast will know this has been a question that I've been asking all of our guests in season 2. For those of you joining us for the first time, the premise definitely is that our guests are experts in one way or another, even if they'll humbly try to pass that moniker along. But I like to always remind the audience that just because you may be an expert or you may have a wealth of knowledge, there usually is always something that's on the horizon that you're excited about. So, Mark, I just want to ask you, what don't you know now, or what challenge in the future are you excited to get after and accomplish and see what comes next?
Well, right now, I was going to be doing a presentation on what's your exit plan. And I kind of think about it, like, what is my exit plan now from carpet cleaning down the road, which we're working to pass our business to our son-in-law and daughter and the family. But also, it's not just the exit strategy. There's people out there that are starting the business. So just like me, I had not that future. I like I said, I just needed some extra cash because I now had a family and I was really good at spending money on my own. And now I had to help out. But I look at, so not only my exit strategy, what was my starting point? Like, who would have thought of naming your carpet cleaning business Saiger Steam Clean, after your last name? Now I'm going to sell my last name. There could have been something different on it. Who thought about the design? I got a blue van. The next thing I know, I'm featuring Bring on the Blue. That's one of our themes for a blue. And, people say I own the color blue. I fell into places. So I had a starting point, but I do encourage people to think the exit plan, which took a long time. I'm 59 now. And we are now just finally got wills in place and transfers, and I got people who can sign things. But we struggled with that a long time. I had mentioned earlier about we now have an accounting firm that helps us with decisions and budgeting and financing, and they're former band students of mine, and they do wonderful. We have relationships. So I tell people, be thinking about an exit plan, because my brothers just sold their businesses here just this last year and a half. We're not going to sell our business. A lot of times these carpet cleaners think that their business is going to be worth a lot of money. And unfortunately, it may be only worth some of the used equipment you have. And, maybe somebody will buy the card file. We used to call it, we had our individual card files, the business list, the list of your customers, but that doesn't guarantee they're going to use you as the new owner. So, are you going to make an exit plan where the next person can take it over and be successful with it and keep growing with it and make your customers happy? Because that's a big deal to us in our smaller community, making sure our local clients are also taken care of. So we don't want to just leave this community. We're helping to contribute to too. So, it's such a big picture. So that is my next level, is trying to help also not only help you right now and get you set up and get you cleaning and being successful, making money, trying to get you caught up maybe in life and get your family ahead, but also what could be your exit strategy, investing in retirements. We're working on all that. I'm 59. We're still working on it. My wife used to work at a bank. I am so blessed. She hides the money from me. She's wonderful. And so I bought a new truck the other day. I still got her permission. I had a lease come up, so I went in and got one. And I wasn't going to do it. And dang it, I'm having fun because of her talent and her skills. I heard her earlier today working on investments for us. That's her focal point. She, opposites attract. Boy, I got lucky. Yeah. Same
it sounds like
people.
foot's never off the gas. It's just, you're just shifting gears, but it's always going forward, eh?
And I want other cleaners, other people, doesn't even have to be cleaners. I want other people in life to have some of these opportunities. Success, do well for your family. My gosh, enjoy your family. That's what a great thing to be able to enjoy some of the things we're having too. We want that for others. We really do.
Well, Mark, I will speak on behalf of the Nice Job Podcast and our audience as well that we are wishing you continued success. And thank you truly for spending some time with us and having a conversation and letting us pick your brain a little bit.
Oh, thank you so much.
Mark, if someone wants to hear any more from you, maybe connect with you, what's the best way for us to direct people your way?
They can come to our website at saigers.com, which is SAIGERS.com. And or even on Facebook, just look me up. I try to answer every message that comes in from everyone. I really do. I feel if they reach out to me personally, they deserve it, a reply and a response back from me.
Nice. Well, we will have some links in the description of our episode as well to make it a little bit easier for you. I know some people like to listen while they're in the truck and things like that. So they don't have the pen and paper handy. Don't worry. Yeah. We'll go back and make it a nice click. But Mark, awesome. Thanks again. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And to all you out there, thank you so much for taking time to listen to us as well. We really enjoy doing the podcast. And if you like what you heard today, we'd love for you to share it, drop a comment, do a like. And if you don't want to do all that, at the very least, just take something that you learned from this podcast today and put it into your life, because we really feel like it's going to help you be not only a better business owner, but a better person as well. We hope you guys are having a safe end of 2020. We'll have one more episode before the calendar officially flips, so just be on the lookout for that one. But as always, everyone out there, be healthy, be safe, and don't forget to have a little fun out there as well. We'll see you soon.